Hello, our Model Y got 14 today. Since our Cybertruck hasn't gotten it yet, we're going to do the test loop of the Model Y. Quick reminder of how we set up for the test loop. Before each run, after new software update, we do a full camera recalibration and do a little bit of city and highway driving to complete that calibration to make sure everything is set how it is. Whereas we will allow the car to drive up to the point that is safe, I will still take over if it's not. I'm not crazy, and I won't let my wife's car hit something in the road just for views. So here we go. This test loop, as we've done before, is approximately 70 miles round trip and takes about 2 hours. We run this as one continuous video. I will speed it up because no one wants to sit through a 2-hour video, and only slow it down for portions that are interesting or I felt like pontificating for some reason. So because this version now says it supports gates, we will be making one small change to the normal one. We'll be starting outside of the gate on our property to see how it approaches the gate and how it chooses to go through. My guess is it doesn't, but we're gonna have to see, because where my wife handled the calibration, I have not yet driven it because I wanted this to be completely without any bias on my side. So here we go, and we'll have to see how this goes. Thank you for coming along. As always, the first leg of our trip is to the pilot Flying J's with the CCS adapter. Not because we need to charge, it just is a convenient spot, and I have an unhealthy addiction to Flying J's coffee. So let's give it a try and see how it goes. There are a number of new driving modes from Sloth to Mad Max. To be fair, we've set this one to run in standard for this run. I may try it in Mad Max on another run just to see how it looks, but I have seen quite a few reports of it driving at an unhealthy speed that may have a ticket. Oh, let's see what's it going to do now, because it didn't trigger the gate. So now it's backing up. Ooh, no, that's a problem. It was going to attempt to loop back around. So this is a little unfair to autopilot. It doesn't know it needs to approach the gate at least 3 miles an hour to trigger the gate opening. And there we go. Now I'll reactivate it. You can kind of see the gate in the graphic. Ooh. Yep. Should have waited till the gate was all the way open, but it hesitated its way through that process, so I guess that kind of works. We'll look both ways because we don't want to run over the cranes, because that would be very illegal in Florida. And here we go. Don't hit the F-150 Lightning. I didn't know somebody in the neighborhood had one. There's a couple of Cybertrucks back here, one Rivian, and apparently a Lightning. Mailbox. Not gonna hit it. It's okay. Handled the 2 blind intersections pretty well. Not that it had much work to do there. Okay, let's sit back and run through it on high speed until something interesting happens. let's see how it handles the diverging diamond. Although it's kind of a cheat going this direction because it just has to exit before it. But 13 had a lot of trouble dealing with this. The traffic is all kind of random. It's a big construction site. On top of it being a diverging diamond, which is just weird. And it would just kind of sit over here like, oh, and it went. Okay. There's a point for 14. 13 would never do that. Job, car. We've got a guy who is tailgating us. Can't really see it there. And it's letting him by because he wishes to go more and not sit in the passing lane. Far better job anticipating it, the exit, versus 13. 13 used to wait until it was within a quarter mile, then fight its way over and miss it. About a third of the time in this test. Okay, let's see. So this exit is 2 stacked turnabouts that aren't on the map. This used to just be a left turn. It's recently been changed, and Google has not yet updated the maps. So the car gets a bit confused in here, as do a lot of the drivers. So we will have to see how 14 handles it. It also looks like the cops tried to enforce it. They have another person pulled out in front of us, and there was a speed trap going the other way coming back. So it's a good thing we will not be taking I-4 back. Map now shows the turnabouts, so it even has the little curve on them, so maybe it'll do a better job on it. Didn't pause. That's great. It used to stop no matter what, even though it's a yield, even if it was clear. So that is a vast improvement. Still doing the weird turn signal thing, but that just confuses other drivers. Around the outside. Confusing turn signal thing again. And away we go. That was 100% better than previously. It used to jerk and pause and move in and out of the lanes. If you look at the Cybertruck video, I think I kept it sped up through there, but you can see that it's very hesitant to make the turns through it. Avoided the pothole. That was cool. Thinks the train is trucks. It's funny. In front of us. That was a little bit of good defensive driving on its part. Probably unnecessary, but definitely not a negative. that it's not raining. Crazy. Let's see if it actually takes us to the right place and not into the trucker's lot where I have to turn it around and drive out. There's a Bolt and a Mach-E charging. Wow. In the last 4 or 5 months, we've gone from not seeing anybody at a lot of these chargers to almost always having somebody at one. It's great to see the utilization rates come up. I do wish they built all the pilots with the drive-through ones that are better for trailers, but beggars can't be choosers a little bit. And for the most part, there aren't a lot of us that tow trailers very commonly. Where are you going? Oh, that's new. Every time I've driven this before, it just makes a left turn and turns into the trucker lot and then tries to maneuver through. This time, it made the proper U-turn and is going in the auto RV only entrance. That is a vast improvement in routing, and I doubt has anything to do with the self-driving and more to do with the mapping has gotten better. The question is does it know what to do now? Well, it drove us here and parked, kind of. Oh. Didn't take us to the charger. What are you doing? That is a terrible parking job. Try again. You're making me look stupid. You gonna try that again? Because that's just bad. Nope. It just did a terrible parking job. Okay. Let's actually go over to the charger because I want to make sure the CCS is working properly before we do our Dallas trip. Plus, we have a whole bunch of charging friends here. I'm going to slow the Bolt down. Wait, the Bolt doesn't charge fast anyways. Doesn't matter. This is not a Cybertruck. It does not have four-wheel steering. Damn, complain about the car parking badly. Okay, time to go in and get some coffee. Well, we really still have a big charge. Don't expect much more than 78. But plug and charge still works, which is what we were checking before we do our 1,000-mile trip to Dallas for the Electrify conference. 390 volts. Come on, Tesla. Gotta start pushing all these cars up to 800 volts. But hey, let it charge for a couple of minutes while we grab some coffee. Doesn't really need it at all, but just making sure it works. Big cable, small adapter. Okay, coffee. It's so nice. The sheriff's department here offers free rides. Unfortunately, it's only to one destination, but hey, what can you do? Okay, got my coffee. Tried to get run over by another ICE car. And the Volt should have, you know, all of 10 minutes of additional charge. Did I just say Volt? Wow, don't know why. Okay, hey, everybody left. I guess they didn't like me. Ooh, that one's red now. It has a problem. Okay, let's get out of here and head back. Okay, adapter put away. time to drive back. But since we don't want to go straight back, because that would just take us on the boring route we just took, we need to have it route us to Lowe's. Lowe's locations. And then, once we get close to Lowe's, we will change our mind and go home. Lowe's Home Improvement. Right there. And we want that route, because that route takes us through a residential neighborhood with a couple of interesting blind turns and continues our test in a pretty positive way. Okay, so here we go. Huh, it changed our route. Still going the place we wanted to, but it's no longer taking us through the neighborhood. That's fine. We've only recently started going the other way in these routes. But partially what we're testing is how it handles its navigation and figuring out where it's going. The only reason we're routing to Lowe's instead of all the way home is I wanted to take a slightly longer route back that is down 27, so we have a good balance. The point of this test loop is it has some freeway, it has some country roads, it has some country highway, which we've been doing a bunch of, and now it has 27. Once we get up to it, this is still a country road, SR60, that is busy and becomes more and more industrial the closer we get back to the house. So this loop really has a good mix of everything, which is why we like to test with it and consistently use the same loop each time. So we can see how it improves, where it has problems. Obviously traffic's a little different and weather's a little different each time, but nonetheless, it gives us a pretty good baseline for how it's improved and how it's not over time. this, in past trips, has been a significant challenge for 13. It hesitates, it doesn't know what to do. Let's see if it actually, because right now, it could just drive through it. Is it going to do it? Oh, vast improvement from 13. 13 would have stopped, seen the cars that were out there and waited, and then hesitated through a gap. If you watch the Cybertruck video, you'll see it sits there, and a car sitting behind us actually goes around us because it waited too long, and it really did. Had it waited even a few seconds longer, I just would have taken control and driven it through it. But vast improvement. Now, it got lucky. The spacing happened to be exactly right, but still, it saw that and utilized the opportunity, which 13 wouldn't have done. It would have always stopped and then continued from there. So, vast improvement. Now that we're up on 27, we get to do I changed my route in the middle of where I was driving. So I'm going to end the route guidance. It maintains in full self-driving, although it may be degraded. Hit home. And away it goes. No hesitation, no problems. Early versions of 13 on the 3.0 hardware would have gone completely stupid, ditched out of the lane, had no idea what to do. Some of them would just slam on the brakes in some early revisions. So that was smooth. It had no problems. It warned me that it was degraded because it was just now going to stay on 27 until 27 ended. We've done a test in the past with this, and what it does when it has no route, it stays on the same road until that road comes to an end. It makes a U-turn and does that road again in the other direction. And I ran out of time and patience and, well, caring. So we didn't continue to test it, but I assume it would have just continued to do that over and over and over again. I may, at some point, try to find a road that's only 10 or 12 miles long and just see if it just keeps doing that loop. Would be an interesting way to run the battery down before a charging test. But nonetheless, it handled it very well here, so I'm impressed. So far, so good. We got to skip over some of the lower versions of 14 that I think had more problems, based on what we've seen in various forums, but this is 14, I believe. This is 14.4, so we seem to have gotten to work past that. Really, the only problems I've seen so far is a bit of hesitation here and now, but usually that hesitation was somewhat appropriate, but could have been handled more smoothly. But we'll talk about that more at the end, and other observations. that guy rear-ended that guy who's all the way down on the field. Crazy. This car, find an opportunistic spot to jump in, or are you going to miss your turn? There's one right there. Nope, not going to take that one. Maybe in front of the blue car? You're just irritating people. Have to take it, and it did a great job, but that guy is putting his life in significant danger. There's lots of people who would not have been paying close enough attention, driving their own car, looking at their phone, and taking him out at the shins while holding a gas can of all things. Here is our converging diamonds. Oh, flashing red light. The light is broken. Do you know what to do with a flashing red light? Oh, now it's just red. Would have been interesting to see what it did with a flashing red light. You can't see it because it's off camera, but there's a guy out there working on the controller right now. should have gone to the curb. It went on the right side of the road. 13 likes to make that turn and go on the wrong side of the road. Even with a visualization shows that it's on the wrong side of the road, it will still sit there till about here when it moves over on its own. It's actually a little scary because that's a blind corner, and I will only test it at night when I can see people's headlights, but it consistently makes that turn wrong. 14 seems to have fixed that problem. It's also staying in the proper lane position. 13 likes to cheat over the line because it doesn't like the brush and grass over here. I actually think full self-driving does a better job in managing stop signs than most of the people in Florida. It seems to know what the rules are and mostly follows them. Or Floridians don't seem to understand at all what the rules are, and we'll just sit there, or we'll just go when they think it's their turn, even when it's not their turn. Okay, what was that? Does seem to still have a little bit of the spiking issue when it's not entirely sure about a turn. See how that improves between now and the next couple of revisions, but it's the same problem, and it seems to have carried over from 13 that it used to do in a couple locations like that, where it wasn't entirely sure what was going on around the blind corner, and it will just suddenly decide, I think I want to be going 10 miles an hour slower, which overall, from a safety perspective of your car is fine, but the person behind you is going to have a bad day if they hit you, and that's going to mean you have a bad day. Full self-driving just doesn't do a great job of managing the other cars, which is really one of the keys to driving. That's spent a lot of time teaching new drivers that you're not the only one you have to think about. You have to consider the cars both in front of you and behind you, and that's a skill that's a little hard for, I think, to teach the AI. Guess it decided that's the end of the drive. A couple of closing thoughts before I go in, and if I take a look at the video and I see anything else, I'll of course throw that in as well. But while everything is still fresh in my mind, 14 seems to be doing a great job in comparison to 13, and having watched autopilot to full self-driving progress from our first 1.0 autopilot cars to the 2.0 cars that we used to have, to the couple of 2.5 cars that we still have, to the 3.0 car that we still have as well, to now these 4.0 cars from a hardware perspective, the amount of processor power is evident in how they drive, even moving from 13 to 14. 14 does a much better job than 13. It's still a little rough around the edges. It has a little brake spiking issues at lower speeds where it's a little hesitant, but overall it did an excellent job, as if you've gotten this far into the video can see yourself. I think it's still got a ways to go before I'd 100% trust it. One thing I do see that is a little interesting, its nags are very different. Now if it thinks that you're doing something that you're not supposed to, like looking at your phone or if there's a device in your hand, it just tells you to put your hand on the wheel instead of yelling at you and shutting down. You can now look at the screen in the car for an extended period of time without it yelling at you, instead of the maybe 3 seconds that it used to get you. That's a pretty big improvement, actually, because that was very annoying before. If you were trying to look at the maps, you'd have to turn the full self-driving off, which made you less safe, so you could then look at the map and then turn it back on at the other side, which was, crazy. Overall, vast improvement. We'll be interested to see how the Cybertruck does with this when it finally gets the update, which I assume is a month and a half behind the Y, which obviously has it early because they want to get more data so they can use it for the cyber taxi. But nonetheless, this was a test in standard mode. If you guys ask and throw it down in the comments, and I might do it anyway, we'll do it again in Mad Max. This isn't the time of the month to do that. We're near the end of the month, and as you probably saw, there were cops everywhere. So the last thing I want to be doing is speeding at all. Beyond the 10 miles an hour it seems to live inside of with standard mode, which is totally acceptable. But overall, it was a pretty good drive. Very, very few problems, which may have made for a very boring video. I'm going to do something different with this video than I've done with the others. I'm going to post the sped up version with just the commentary sections not sped up, where you guys can listen to me pontificate and skip over those, which I'm guessing is what most of you do anyways. I'm also going to post the full length video separately, unedited, unmodified, not that I edit this one, but unmodified. So if you really want to see it all the way through without it having been sped up, it will be there. I think that video will be extremely boring, but I've had a number of people message me claiming that with the previous video I edited big sections of it out where there were problems to make it look better than it did, which is crazy because a video that showed problems would do better on YouTube. But nonetheless, I will post both, and if somebody wants to vibe through 2 hours of watching the video, you can feel free, and I will link that below. Otherwise, thank you for watching, and if you liked it, please like and subscribe.